Without further ado, let's get this show underway. This is a trial of Prince Juan Quirdo, who stands accused of murdering Major Hal and of conspiring to murder the king himself. Roll call. The defense is present and ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Good, very good. I expect this to be a nice, speedy trial. I don't want to see this dragged out by technicalities and bureaucracy. Well said, Your Honor. I expect that once the court sees the overwhelming evidence, this trial will be over in 5 minutes. 5 minutes? He's just messing with your head, Falcon. Keep it together. So we're all on the same page? Excellent. Prosecutor, please call your first witness to the stand. Very well. I call the police officer who investigated the crime scene. I call upon Inspector Just Valerity. Step up and stand, Inspector, and recite the oath. I swear to speak without hatred and without fear, to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Please recite your name and occupation for the court record. My name is Inspector Just Valerity. I am servant to the law, a scourge of the gutter rats. That will do, Inspector. We've all heard your monologue before. Whoa, Cocorico really is going for a speed wrecker, isn't he? Cocorico Village is his name? Now, can you tell us what you witnessed on the morning of the 7th of January? Of course. 10 o'clock in the morning, because he's a rooster. I was called to Louvre Grand Gallery by one of the King's Royal Guards. Did you just say o'clock? There I saw Prince Juan, King Louis Philippe, the corpse of Major Hal with a rose in his hand, and 24 citizens. Citizens and the king himself all attest to seeing Major Hal taking the rose from Prince Juan's hands and then promptly dropping dead. And what did the morgue uncover upon examination of the corpse? The coroner determined with absolute certainty that Major Hal died of poisoning. Aside from a prick of his finger, there's no sign of external harm to Major Hal's body. Therefore, the poison rose must have been the cause of death. Putting aside the pieces together, that does seem very implicative of the prince. I have no further questions. Darnies. Wrong voice. Darnies. I was hoping that the coroner's report would determine that the guy died of a freak heart attack or something. That would make for a particularly speedy trial, wouldn't it? But no, we aren't so lucky. Something else must be amiss in the old bird's testimony. Right. I'll tear it apart. Your Honor, I wish to cross-examine the witness. Falcon, wasn't it? Don't waste the court time. A high-ranking police officer would never lie on the witness stand. I wouldn't accuse the inspector of lying. I just want to make sure that every base is properly covered. This sounds like pointless nitpicking to me, but I'll allow it for now. Go on, Falcon, do your cross-examination. ++ X. Oh, I'm supposed to be doing a cross-examination. 10 o'clock, you say? Correct. 10 o'clock. That would be rude. How long did it take for you to arrive? From the time you were called, how long did it take for you to arrive to the crime scene? About 5 minutes. Happened to be in the neighborhood. Palais Royal at the time. So it was simply a simple journey. Then I'm guessing that Major Hal would have been dead for around 10 minutes by the time you arrived. Now, that would be a fair estimate. Plenty of time for a bad guy to slip away, huh? That's definitely a possibility. I don't think the court would appreciate my wild speculations, though. No. Major Hal. I would like to ask about the victim, Major Howell. It's curious. We've spent our whole investigation focusing on the murder, but we still don't know much about the victim himself. Exactly who is Major Howell? He was a royal guard, well-respected dog who was getting in on the years. I was not friends with the man, but I had met him on several occasions in the past, at banquets and royal meetings and the sort. Major Howell was a stern, no-nonsense fellow, but he was a good man. His wife and children no doubt miss him. No doubt. Thank you for the insight, Inspector. Yes. We have been treating this case as if the intended murderer target was King Louis Philippe. But there are another possibility. What if the killer was trying to murder Major Howell from the very beginning? JJ, stop talking. You just said something very stupid. I could explain why, and humiliate you in front of the whole court. Alternatively, you could retract your question right now, and I will save your humiliation for another day. You're bluffing. I know a bluff when I see one, Seven. My question stands. Okay, here goes. A myriad of reasons why you question this unfathomably stupid. First, it doesn't absolve your client of any guilt. If the defendant was intending to murder Major Howell, then he is still guilty of murder and would likely face the same punishment as before. Second, it doesn't make any sense. Nobody has a motive to kill Major Howell, but plenty have a motive to kill the king. That sounds pretty mean of you. Alright, I get it. Third, many citizens attested to seeing the defendant deliberately try to approach the king himself, not the major. His intentions were clear to everyone present. Fourth, prosecutor, that will do. Defense, don't ask such stupid questions. What a buffoon. Uh-oh. No. This isn't going well. Inspector, you say that there were around 24 citizens, all of whom attested to seeing my client deliver the poisoned rose. Oh boy, when you put it like that, our situation seems a little dire, doesn't it? Correct. We collected precisely 22 testimonies, and there were no major inconsistencies. I would like some further details. What exactly did the testimonies say? Each citizen attested to seeing the king and his entourage approaching the new painting in the Grand Gallery. They each heard the king deliver a short speech, which was on the subject of progress and societal improvements and whatnot. There was some applause, then Prince Juan stepped out of the crowd and approached the king with a rose in his hand. Each person then saw Major Howell take the rose from Prince Juan, and each person saw Major Howell promptly drop dead. I see. Some of the descriptions of the man's death were quite graphic. He convulsed, twisted, and spasmed, said one witness. His mouth frothed like he was a rabid lunatic, said another. Thank you, Inspector. I think we get the picture. Never mind. Okay. Poisoning. Inspector, you say that the coroner determined with certainty that Major Howell was killed by poison. Correct. You say the signs and symptoms were textbook. There is no possibility that his death was natural. Did the coroner mention specifically what kind of poison it was? He was not certain. At first, the coroner posed that it was a plant-borne poison, like that of the aconite flower. But then he learned how fast the poison had taken effect. He noted that this was atypical of aconite. Consequently, he suggested that it may have been some newly engineered concoction. Newly engineered poison, you say? Well, that only reaffirms that this was a very deliberate assassination attempt. Indeed. Yes. How exactly was Major Howell poisoned? Was the delivery mechanism? What was the delivery mechanism? His finger was pricked by the poisoned rose. He even commented out loud about it seconds before dying. All 22 citizens who witnessed the murder attested to seeing and hearing this. Is there any possibility he was poisoned by something else? What an absurd thing to ask, JJ. You just heard that 22 people saw the victim prick his finger and die. What are you suggesting? That the pricked finger had no relation to the poisoning? Okay, let's lie. That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't doubt that Major Hal was poisoned, but I do doubt that the rose was the cause. Unbelievable. Only a total buffoon would fail to draw the blatant link here. JJ, as tempting as it is to sit here and lecture you on the basics of cause and effect, I'll end this discussion painlessly. Inspector, please tell the defense that you found traces of poison on the thorns of the rose itself. That should alleviate all doubt that the rose was, in fact, the poison delivery mechanism. Actually, I can't tell him that. I dread to ask, but why not? We didn't check the rose for traces of poison. It just seemed obvious that the rose caused the poisoning, given the timing of the events. Well then, now would be a good time to make a test. It is a marvelous thought. We prick the finger of the defendant with the rose. If there is no poison on the rose, then Prince Juan will live, and he is free to go. If the rose is poisoned, then the prince dies, but that's okay because the punishment would be just in fitting of the crime. A marvelous suggestion. What is this, a rich trial? This isn't America 7. That's not how we do things here. Calm your feathers, JJ. It was clearly a joke. There are far more humane ways of testing for poison. I'm sure the inspector will perform his duty with due diligence. Actually, we won't be able to test the rose for poison at all. Why is that? Given the dangerous nature of the flower, it was destroyed by the police force. We burned it to ashes. Such unprofessionalism. If we have no way to know whether the rose was poisoned, then this whole trial ought to be called into question. Nice try, JJ, but through the process of reasoning by elimination, we can still deduce that with absolute certainty that the rose was poisoned. In other words, there was nothing else at the crime scene that could have caused the poisoning. Wrong! There was something else at the crime scene that could have contained the poison. Something the investigative police blindly overlooked. Chocolate! Look at this. What am I supposed to be looking at? It is a paper wrapper to a piece of chocolate. It was found in the Louvre, the Salle du Tribet, Sally Timber, to be precise. And we can date its consumption to the day of the incident. You're not suggesting that Major Hal ate a piece of poisoned chocolate moments before he died? I most certainly am. Pretty convincing. Do you see this wrapper at the crime scene for yourself, Inspector? The police force does not have the time nor resources to trawl every piece of trash at every crime scene, I'm afraid. In other words, you overlooked it? Tisk. Astounding unprofessionalism. Prosecution is right to be disgusted. What a disgraceful display, Inspector. I offer my apologies, Your Honor. I don't want your apologies. I want you to do your job. Get off the witness podium before I kick you off myself. As you wish. I will take my leave. Until next time, Messieurs. Von Sowers. Now let me get this straight. This chocolate wrapper was found at the crime scene? Correct. You have reason to believe that it was consumed on the day of the incident? I do. I have an expert food-tasting witness who is willing to testify if need be. You have a foodie witness? I don't recall anyone like that. Who on earth would be talking about Oh, I see. But do you know for certain that Major Hal consumed this chocolate? Well, it is a fact that we are still investigating. I see. Do you have evidence that this chocolate was in fact poisoned? Again, that is something that we may require a little more time to definitively prove. So then, in actuality, you do not have evidence that Major Hal consumed some poisoned chocolate. Instead, you have a solitary piece of rubbish that you plucked straight out of the gutter. That's weak, even for you, JJ. Let's move things along. I have another witness I would like to summon. He is a man who claims to have had an excellent view of the people going in and out of the Louvre at the time of the incident. I call upon Monsieur Toussaint Kingsley. Could the witness please approach and recite and so forth and blah blah. You? Oh, wait a minute. No, you're somebody else. We're back to Alfred Hitchcock. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Oh, right. I swear to speak without hatred and stuff and other things. Please state your full name and occupation for the court. My name's Toussaint Kingsley. I am a person who fishes. A person who fishes? So you are a fisherman. Oh. Is that how it is? I thought the French justice system was better than this. I beg your pardon? Here comes Toussaint Kingsley, the kingfisher. Clearly, he must be a fisherman, because didn't you hear? All kingfishers are fishermen. Well, you are carrying a fishing rod. And? Can a man not carry a fishing rod, reel, and bait without being branded a fisherman? Look, the prosecutor is carrying a riding crop. Clearly, he must be a horse jockey. Oh, for pity's sake, fine. Can we list your occupation as person who fishes and not fisherman? Thank you. Actually, why do you carry a riding crop, 7? I've never seen you ride a horse. I don't know, JJ. Why do a 30-something-year-old with no health problems carry a cane? This is veering quite far off course. Could the prosecution please get back to its questions? Of course, Your Honor. Monsieur Kingsley, is it true that you were nearby the Louvre at the time of the incident? Yes. I was sitting upon the railing of the Pont des Arts. Pont des Arts? That's the new bridge that's just a stone throw from the Louvre south entrance, correct? That's right. And what were you doing at the time of the incident? I was fishing. Kingfishers. Am I right, Falcon? So would you have had plenty of opportunity to see the people who entered and exited the palace? Can you tell us who you saw? Well, the Louvre's a busy place. Naturally, I saw a lot of people. But at 9 a.m., I saw the king, Louis Philippe himself, enter the building. He was surrounded by his entourage, of course. Then, around 9:30, I saw this shifty-looking fox lurking around the entrance. Your Honor, I object to the witness's use of the term shifty-looking. It is vague and biased description. Oh, really? He looked super shifty. Saw him rubbing his paws and cackling gleefully. Then I saw him take out a rose and carefully rub the stem. Rub the stem of the rose, you say? As if he were applying something to the flower, perhaps. Well, monsieur, I really couldn't speculate. Of course, I was wrong of me to ask such a leading question. But yeah, definitely looked like he was putting some sort of powder on the stem. Wow, even I wasn't expecting such a bold admission. Members of the court, it sounds like what we have here is a direct witnessing of the defense readying the murder weapon. The defense claims that the rose was never poisoned, and yet here we have a man who saw the poison with his own eyes. I smell perjury. You do? No question. He saw a shifty-looking criminal readying poison and cackling near the scene of the crime. That's not believable at all. I think you might be right. I wonder if I have any evidence that calls Toussaint's story into doubt. Your Honor, I would like to cross-examine the witness. Really? This nonsense again? You just heard this witness directly describe the client readying poison on a rose. What is there to question? I'm just trying to uncover the truth, Your Honor. Fine, do what you want. Go on, Falcon, make a fool of yourself.
Thank you all for watching. You're welcome to come see me record these episodes live at twitch.tv/SuperBunnyBun.
You can also say hi on Blue Sky at SuperBunnyBun.
But most importantly, I'd really appreciate it if you could like yourself, comment about how awesome you are, and subscribe to Happy Thoughts. And until next time, stay spicy and huggable. Bye!